Okay, so we just got home from running our errands for the day, and Troy's putting away the groceries. Did you want to be a part of this? But we wanted to give you guys a little life update. So if you follow me on Instagram, you already know this, but if you don't follow me on Instagram, a few vlogs back, we had a dog come up to Troy while Troy was doing yard work outside. And I'm going to try to keep this story brief because I can go on and on and on about this entire situation, but I'm going to try and keep this brief. So, if you didn't know, now you know. We have 3 dogs. The dog that came up to Troy while he was outside doing yard work is now officially our dog. So what happened was our neighbor was taking care of, his name is Mooch, by the way. Our neighbor was taking care of Mooch for the first 2 days after we found him because the chip company had contacted the owner, basically telling the owner, hey, so-and-so has your dog, contact them to pick up the dog. And at the time, the day that we found Mooch, I had called animal control because I had no idea at the time that animal control is not good. They're not good people, at least in the county that we live in. They have the highest number of euthanizations, and we were unaware of that at the time when we called animal control. So we had contacted animal control the day that we found him, basically to see if he had a chip. Obviously, we found out when our neighbor took him to the police department that he did have a chip. So they contacted the owner. So we were like, oh, this is great. Like, this is wonderful. This is probably like the best case scenario because we weren't really in a position to be getting a 3rd dog, but at the end of the day, we're big animal lovers and we have a huge heart for animals. It was basically like, if the owner doesn't want this dog, like, we want to keep the dog. So after the first 2 days, we ended up taking Mooch back in because the owner hadn't stepped forward after the first 2 days. And so we took him in, and the first day we noticed that he was like covered in fleas. Obviously, we have 4 animals. If you didn't know that, if this is a new video to you, we had 2 dogs and 2 cats, and yeah. So obviously, it would have been a little bit difficult if he came into our house with fleas. So the first night that we had him, Troy actually slept out in the garage with him. Troy gave him a flea bath that night, but I think they said it takes up to 24 hours or something like that for like the shampoo and everything to like really actually kick in and kill the fleas off and yada yada. So we did that. And also one of our dogs is, it takes him a little bit longer to warm up to other animals. People in general, like, that's just who he is. He's highly reactive while on a leash. So we also wanted to do the introductions a little bit slow. So the second day that we had him, we ended up taking all of our dogs on a walk. We put Adelaide, who is our Weimaraner, we put Adelaide with Mooch together because Adelaide just doesn't care. She's like a go with the flow girl. So we had them walking together. Troy was walking them, I was walking Bentley, and we just did a slow introduction on a leash while we were walking with the dogs. Let Bentley and Mooch run into each other and basically eventually like touch noses, get nice and close to each other. They ended up like, Bentley, you could tell Bentley was fine. So we ended up getting home. We went in our backyard. We took them all off leashes, and then they ended up just like playing and going crazy. So we're like, okay, this actually is working out like a lot faster than we were initially expecting. So that was a happy surprise for us. And then, so yeah, we had Mooch in our house. Like, I mean, our dogs ended up becoming absolutely infatuated and obsessed with him. And I mean, I just absolutely fell in love with him. He's like the sweetest little angel pumpkin pie. He has the mushiest little face, and he's such a good dog. He's such a sweet, sweet dog. So we basically made the decision one night that we're like, you know what? We want to give this a shot. We want to see if we can handle taking in another dog, because it was just, how could you not? He was literally the sweetest little thing. And I'm very much a strong believer in like everything happens for a reason. And like that day we were actually supposed to go to a Yankees game out in Tampa, and we ended up not going to a Yankees game. So I just feel like everything was working out this way for him to end up with us. So then it's almost a week later, so 6 days pass, and animal control shows up to our house, basically threatening us if we don't give Mooch to them, then we're going to get a citation, we're going to get a ticket. It's basically holding stolen property if we do not give Mooch up. At the end of the day, I was like absolutely petrified, because I was like thinking of all the possible situations of things that could possibly happen to this dog. Animal control told me that they literally had over 700 dogs in their kennels there, which petrified the crap out of me. I was like, he's literally just going to go to your kennels and be just a number. Like, I don't trust that you guys aren't going to just euthanize him. Like, you guys don't care. And animal control was just like, I don't like that you're insinuating that I don't care. Like, look at what I do for a living, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I'm not saying that you don't care, but at the end of the day, he's not going to care as much as I care. Like, I'm literally out there like hyperventilating, crying, because I got so attached to Mooch. So yeah, it was a little bit challenging to navigate that, but we ended up, obviously we had to abide by the law and we had to give Mooch over, but we really expressed to this animal control person that we're obsessed with him, we want to keep him, he's very happy here, like our dogs love him, and he was a great fit for our household. So we really expressed that to animal control. We ended up signing off papers basically saying if the owner doesn't step forward in 10 days, which is ridiculous, because at the end of the day, the owner was contacted 6 days prior to that, and obviously like wasn't stepping forward. And the guy was like, okay, so if we find out that this owner did just dump this dog, then like he can also get a ticket, because that's against the law. That's animal abuse here in Florida. So he would get in trouble. And I'm like, okay. So then there's all these other things that are running through my brain. Like, okay, if you tell this guy that he could get a ticket and fined for dropping his dog, then who's to say that he's not going to just take the dog back and just dump him somewhere else again in hopes that, I mean, like somebody doesn't contact animal control. Like, you just never know. So I just had all these different like situations and things running through my brain. So I was just very nervous. And then Troy ended up like figuring the rest out. We filled out the paperwork that again said that if the owner didn't step forward, the dog would be ours in 10 days. So that the day before that animal control actually contacted us, I actually had been in contact with a director of a vet clinic in Lakeland, and she had also warned me all about animal control. And she has volunteered there. She has connections at this animal control. So as soon as they took Mooch from us, I contacted her and I told her about the entire situation, and she contacted the animal control director immediately. What ended up happening was animal control ended up leaving our house, going directly to the owner's house, the registered owner's house. And when animal control reached the registered owner's house, it was a lady, and she was like, oh, this is actually my ex-husband's dog, and this is his address. We got a divorce. We got this dog together, but we got a divorce, and now we're no longer in contact. So she was obviously contacted by the chip company and didn't take it seriously, or I don't know what the case was, but maybe she just didn't tell her ex-husband that Mooch was found, essentially. So again, we're still nervous, but regardless, then they go to the owner's house, like the guy's house, and I guess they expressed to the owner that like we were absolutely in love with this dog, we didn't want to give Mooch up, and that he was just happy here. And the owner ended up just being like, okay, like they can have him. and animal control was like, okay, you gotta sign off on this. So they had him sign off on some documents for them. And then we had to contact the owner directly. So I ended up calling the owner literally like probably within 20 minutes after animal control left our house, picked up Mooch. They were already at the owner's house. I'm on the phone with the owner. The owner is literally like, yeah, like it's no big deal. Like you can have him. Like I just feel like this is meant to be. He just never stays in my backyard. And yeah, it's just, I feel like maybe he was just running to you guys. And it was like, it was a weird situation because at the end of the day, like I could never, I mean, I was literally obsessed and attached to Mooch within 2 hours of having him. Like I can't even imagine like having a dog and like being willing to like give him up. But at the end of the day, like I was just like so happy and grateful and thankful that like the owner was allowing us to keep him. So we ended up getting a contract written up. We had him signing a contract that basically said that he is giving the dog to us and yada yada. And then we literally picked him up from the owner's house. We brought him home, and then it was actually really sad though. So like when animal control did take Mooch was crying in the truck, and like I was in my office still crying, like probably for 6 days straight. I was just crying over this dog, and I'm like, I just can't wait for the day that I'm not crying over this dog, because I had fears of like the owner stepping forward or animal control coming. I had all these fears because like he wasn't ours officially, really, like within like the first 6 days of having him. So I was just very nervous the entire time. So I just was a wreck every single day. And like just looking at him, I'm like, how could anybody ever even like, how could anybody do this to you? Like you were the sweetest. And I think of like the worst possible things of like what could have happened to this dog. So I'm thinking, oh, this owner literally dropped this dog. He doesn't care, yada, yada, yada. And the owner didn't care nearly as much as we did because he was willing to give him up. But again, like I said, like I was happy and thankful and grateful. Moochie, come here. Come here. Up. And this is Moochie. This is our baby. The sweetest little pumpkin pie. Yeah. And now he is so happy here. He literally sleeps above both Troy and I's heads every single night. He plays with Adelaide and Bentley 24/7, which is good because like Adelaide and Bentley are funny. Like Adelaide is a more chill, laid back dog. She doesn't want to play all the time, whereas Bentley does want to play all the time. Bentley's older than Adelaide too, so you think that it would be the other way around. But now Mooch helps get all of Bentley's energy out. So it worked out perfectly. So we're happy. He's now a big part of our household. And now this baby girl is gonna have quite the squad to protect her. We have 3 decent sized dogs, and his bark, it was funny because the first week that we had him, he didn't bark, but it was like as soon as he officially became ours, he's like, oh, I'll bark. I'll show you guys how I bark. And we're used to like the high energy dogs that are loud, obnoxious. Like we're used to that. That doesn't affect us. That doesn't bother us. But his bark is scary. And I think it could definitely scare off a robber or somebody coming up to our baby girl. So yeah, that's the story of Mooch. We officially have a 3rd dog, 3 dogs, 2 cats that this baby girl is coming into the world with, but it's fun. So Troy is currently putting together a charcuterie board for us because that's what we're doing for dinner tonight. Oh, I wanted to show you guys really what I have for my coffees Monday through Friday. And I use this coffee creamer with this coffee and OMG. So unfortunately Target was out of this coffee creamer, so this is literally from last week. So fingers crossed it lasts me the entire week. I don't know if our Publix has this, but yeah, these are amazing together. I highly recommend. I get both of them at Target. So if you make your coffee at home, get these because it's amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to end off the vlog here because I think I've done a lot of talking, and it's actually starting to thunderstorm again. So yeah, I'm gonna end the vlog off here. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.